Welcome to New Amsterdam. I could have called it New London as well, but London is so big already.
Amsterdam is cooler.
You're going to be a group of builders. You're going to build a village over the next 2 hours. The purpose of your organization is build neighborhoods with a focus on nature, security and convenience. You're not a building organization that cares about big office buildings. You care about neighborhoods that truly combine nature, security and convenience. You're building New Amsterdam in Lego on some flip chart sheets. That's going to be your city. And you have a couple of roles. We'll do this in 4 groups, so we're with between 5 and 7 people per group. And these are the roles that are there. For each of those roles you have a role card that looks like this. So you have the builder. Its purpose is beautiful building creations. It doesn't have a domain, but it has an accountability. Building constructions as presented by the city planner. So whenever the city planner tells this role, hey, build a playground, build a church, build a detached house, whatever the city planner comes up in the master scheme of the city, you will build up to all your creative potential as a house. That's the builder role.
So what I get from that is that the city planner is kind of the de facto builder's boss, right? So how would you separate the role telling that entire role what to do and the person telling that entire person?
That's an interesting one, right? There's a clear hierarchy here, right? The city planner defines the layout of that city. But it doesn't say how the builder builds the house.
But if it tells the builder what the house looks like, then sure the builder can use clay or wood or whatever. But
it doesn't say to what level the city. So let's look at the city planner. There it is. A lively designed city, assigning construction projects to every builder with the right instructions. So your vision as city planner creates a city where people can live in every sprint, prioritizing all not yet assigned construction projects so that builders can start with fresh projects in the next round. Most of the time I see a city planner, they think about the vision, about the layout, not about where the electricity plugs in the actual house are going to be put. It's the city planner. But there's a clear relationship between roles. The role could be filled by the same person, by the way. You probably have a couple of builders and a single city planner. You could have 5 city planners and a single builder, but you kind of figure this out what your ideal setup is. But in the same way, if I would choose where with my skills I would be a city planner or a builder, probably doesn't make sense to make me a builder. I'm not strong enough, I don't have the construction skills. Probably for the city planner I don't have skills enough as well either. But you can fit the roles to someone's capacity. So if everybody in the organization does what they do best, you probably see those work relations work out pretty natural. The builders, those guys don't want to be bothered with the whole village design. And in the same way, the city planner might not want to be bothered with building the actual house. But if we make clear how those roles interact and how they can depend on each other, hey, then it might just be the same way you have a soccer setup. The defenders can do stuff and the goalkeeper can do stuff. And if we all play our part, it kind of works out. That's what you will see in those accountabilities play out. What are you accountable for? What do we expect from you in this game?
How come neither of those have domains? Like, what is needed for that to be a domain? Because it sounds like the builder their domain could be the house building.
Yeah. So domains are a special thing. They're like a fence. I came my car to the airport this morning. Not many people drive in my car. If a neighbor would ask me, can I take your car? I probably would give him the key and say, hey, go for it. But the car is my domain. You need my keys to get into my car. If I do that on everything, it kind of creates a lot of bureaucracy. So domain is kind of a fence you put around an asset. Your garden, the walls around your garden, stuff like that. The same in an organization. Please start without domains, but when you notice, like, what's a typical domain? The website. If you don't have a domain on the website, it actually says anybody can change the website. How cool is that? How fast can you go when you have an idea, and you're a product manager, within 5 minutes you put it on the website. If that works, go for it. With most organizations, it doesn't, because you can mess up a website pretty easily. So when you put a domain on it, you have to ask the role that holds the domain for permission before you can enter it. Just like the keys of my car. With the builders, so far they didn't need the domain. See what happens. We put the domain on supply. Supply has the domain material stock. If you look at the construction site, you might see this a lot, right? That the area where they have the stock of materials is fenced off. It doesn't work for a construction site if everybody just runs in, takes the materials they need. That's what the domain does. It's a protection around an asset. And use it wisely.
One of the bits that was more interesting or like more surprising in the constitution is also that with domains, it's not like you own this domain and you can just tell people to buzz off when they ask to use the domain. You can decline requests if they really don't make sense, but if somebody makes a request to the domain that you control and it makes sense, you need to give them access. It's not like, you just...
Well, you can still choose not to. If I say that your reason doesn't make sense, it's my domain, it's my car, yeah, it makes sense, but no.
If I were you, I wouldn't. You'll smash your car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Makes really sense if my son says, hey, give me your keys, I want to drive. For him, but not for me. I have the domain, my choice. But hey, then I have attention, I might process that to something better. That he says, my son, he's 1 year old, so does he say the word car? He knows what it is. Yeah. So if he would ask my keys, I would give him that as long as another adult, which I trust, guides him. If we're good friends with our neighbors, if my son would say, hey, I want your car because the neighbor is going to drive, yeah, go ahead, I feel safe. They give kind of a policy, I give access to that domain under a certain condition. That would solve the tension potentially, or not, because then probably it's not safe enough to give him the keys of the car. The same you would do with your website probably, right? I can come up with very good reasons why I want access to your website, to put blogs and stuff on it. Probably you won't give me. You will say, well, you can get access through this role. That makes our setup the best quality, the best speed, whatever we can come up with right now. But those tensions, you can solve them more on a governance level. I think there are a few more domains. Quality. Yeah. The purpose is highest attainable quality for the ultimate living pleasure. Now, great that we have a role accountable for quality. If that role wouldn't have the domain, the quality stamp, or the approval of quality, each builder could give their own approval to their buildings. So that could also be a kind of reason. Well, we only want the quality role to approve the quality of buildings. That could also be a reason to put it on. I don't know if it's needed, if it works out. These are the kind of roles you have. You get the card, so you can read up on your roles. You also have 3 Holacracy standard roles. You have the lead link. Each circle has a lead link, and it's an appointed role. The lead link is accountable for a couple of things, and here it's in a simple way. So it's accountable for assigning and removing people from roles. So the lead link is actually the person who assigns the roles. Sounds a bit like a manager as well, right? Yeah. The good thing is that yes, the lead link can assign roles, but you can give them back at any time. And because you're not part of a single circle, go and give back roles. Please do so. If you don't like the roles you have, give them back to the lead link. The lead link should bother about who should do that work. So if that's the starting point, that the lead link can assign anybody and you can give it back at any time, you kind of get a much more natural discussion about roles, about work. And the lead link then typically has to convince you or has to give a pretty good reason why you want to do that work. If it fits your nature, it's probably pretty easy, but sometimes there are tough roles to fill. So then it's up to the lead link to find someone to do that. It's also about allocating resources. The lead link is also a channel for if you want to spend money if that's needed. It's an additional channel you can create that the lead link make sure there's prioritization and stuff like that. And the lead link defines the metrics for the circle. What do we look at if we're going well? That's a lot. The lead link role takes an hour a week. In the beginning, maybe a bit more. If the lead link role is for you a full-time role, then it's probably still as a manager. The idea here is that you're like the coach again of the soccer team. You have your minutes before the game and afterwards maybe, but when the game is happening, you don't run onto the field to interfere, right? You might shout from the sidelines and try whatever you want. But you cannot interfere with the builder and how they build their house. That's not your role. It doesn't say the builder needs approval from the lead link before they build the house. The builder's accountable, they make their decisions. The lead link is just there to make sure that setup of the team is taken care of. So if you ask who is accountable for that, hey, the mission we have is organized properly, that's the lead link. From the lead link you expect that they take an hour a month or whatever time it takes them to think like, hey wait, the roles we currently have, let me step back, does it actually make most sense? That kind of stuff. The facilitator facilitates the meetings. We have some meeting cards lying there, it's a fixed process, you follow the steps. You're a bit like a referee. If you want to be a good facilitator, you're as stubborn and a little bit more as the most stubborn participant on your table. If you have a relaxed group, you can be a very relaxed facilitator. If you have tough people on your team, be tough as well, and a little bit tougher than them. You hold the process. That's your role as facilitator. And then we have the secretary. The secretary captures every outcome of the meetings, schedules the meetings, and does interpretation of the governance. What is a nice example? Yeah, if you want to figure out stopping all construction activities as soon as you see danger on the construction area. That's an accountability of the safety area. What does this mean? If we disagree about that, we don't solve it together, you can always ask the secretary to make an interpretation of what it means, and that rules. So the secretary is not only someone who can be a good listener, can use the tool easily, but is also someone who you can trust that gives an interpretation to the rules. And hey, and then you have an interpretation. If you disagree with it, you probably have attention and you can process it in governance again to something more meaningful. But that's also what you see in a facilitator. So you have a bunch of roles. So this is how it's going to work. You have some resources. That's the sheet of paper, some Legos, and a pen. To get you started, there are a couple of projects which you village already. A church built, a police station built, a detached house built, a park with grass and multiple trees landscaped, whatever. Oh yeah, what do you notice in how those projects are defined?
End states.
End states. Why? What is it?
They're in the past tense. They tell you what completion looks like.
Yeah, they're written as if they're done already. Right? The house is built. The park is landscaped. Why would we do that? Why would we write work projects as if they were completed already?
That's an objective. You can clearly see if it's finished or not.
Yeah. That's much easier to agree on. What's the outcome we're going after? If we would set a project which was a park, okay, you can get a lot of discussion on what the park exactly is. But when you specify the outcome, you can agree on it easier because you can visualize it, and you know when it's done. That makes it easy to tick it off and complete it. So with defining the end state, you make work, you get a bit back to the milestone question. When you create clear outcomes, you know where you're going, you know when stuff is completed, you know where you're heading.
It's like R&D.
Yeah, this is taken from Scrum.
Do you know what it's like?
We're a bit of an agile building company, so you will build a village within 7 minutes. How you typically build a village is first you clear up the area, then a month later you build some concrete in, and then depending on how well you planned, some items might not be finished. It's probably okay, you might need to finish them later. And we have a quality role that inspects the buildings and says this goes following our quality standards. So they might put a cross or something on it that makes clear this house is not yet ready to live in. So at the end of every 7 minutes, you want houses where people can live in. And here are our lines on the roads. We have 5 policies in place, so you can do anything except for cross those 4 policies. Quality, a construction can only be delivered, completed, after quality explicitly gave a no objection to it. Workload, only builders can make construction. So if you're quality and you want to, I fix it, no, not allowed. Only builders can make constructions. And every builder can deliver every round a maximum of 20 points. So some points on those cards. It's a kind of, government workload regulations. Right? We don't want to get paid in no bags, stuff like that. So maximum 20 points for every builder. There's something about aesthetics. Every construction consists of a minimum of 10 parts. Maybe more, that's alright, but not less than 10. It has a single dominant color. A few deviating colors is alright, but that's the regulation we got with it. You can build your village the way you want, but it has to comply with these aesthetics rules. And separated accountabilities, the quality and the safety role cannot be filled by the same person. The builder can have the quality role, whatever, it doesn't matter, but these 2 roles cannot be filled by the same person. That are the lines of the road of this simulation. Yeah?
So the builder can also be the quality person.
Yeah.
And they can approve their own building. Isn't that a conflict of interest?
No, not for this company.
Okay.
So this is now if you're the leading of the circle, to which person would you trust that? This is what you do as leading. When you assign roles, do it in a way you think, if I give this role to this person, do I trust them to get it right? And I could see some people be quality and builder at the same time. But maybe if stuff happens, if it doesn't work, then you have a tension. And you might raise it in the governance meeting and adjust it.
Since you know what the exercise is like, could you clarify for remote people, what would be the ideal roles for remote people so that they can act? Because presumably builder would not be a great role for remote.
So we're going in 4 groups. Who of you have an engineering degree? Yeah, 2, 3. Who has both? Yeah, also. So we have 4 leadlings. Awesome. Then you guys probably have leadlings. As leadling, you can assign the roles. We have a few people remote. 4 people remote. So each circle gets 1 remote person with them. If you give that person the builder role, they probably won't get much buildings on paper. If I can pull this up quickly. Yeah,
Nothing's impossible.
nothing is impossible, but hey, how difficult do you want to make it yourself? Hey, your lead link, you can choose whatever you want. What roles would work out nicely with remote people? I would say safety, definitely. And they can look from their screen, and if you put the screen in a good position, they have a pretty potentially objective view on what if work happens safely, and they're not caught up in all the stress of the building. That would be a really well role to give to the remote person. You could make them building specialists, and the building specialist is accountable for coming up with creative ideas when the builder is stuck. You could have a short chat online to see if they come up with ideas. You can show them with the screen the building. Quality could work, but then the lead link needs to support a bit to put those approval stamps on the actual buildings. It's hard to do virtually.
Secretary.
Secretary as well. Yeah, we do it primarily paper-based here. So then I would say facilitator, but that's also kind of in the beginning hard. So if you're remote, it's kind of getting into the simulation work, getting it to work out. I would say safety and building specialist, very easy. Do that the first round, and hey, maybe you have some good ideas for the second round. Maybe you make a role for that as well, or kind of see how it works out. But maybe start with safety and building specialist. But hey, now you're lead link, you can decide. Good luck with this. This is exactly what you want to figure out.
This is a competition, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Are you guys competitive or?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So I have here a package for each of the circles. I made it hopefully quite easy. You see, who is this? Lead link. Behind it are those role cards. So lead links take this package, hand out the roles to the people in your circle in the way you like to do it. The discussion, just by handing, or however you want to do it. There are, I think, 5 builder roles in it. You might make more, however you want to do it. There's a pack for the facilitator. Doesn't have much because you have the meeting cards. Take one of the tactical and governance meeting cards with you. There is for the quality role, the quality stamps. For all of them, they're nicely pink. What else do we have? Oh yeah, for the city planner, there is a whole bunch of cards with example projects you can put on. That's the second thing. So as city planner, if you have the city planner role, give all the builders enough projects and those 20 points so they can start immediately in that first sprint. We go into groups. I'll give you some time to read your roles, to figure out how you divide those roles. And for the city planner to come up with the first design and hand out the projects. So by the time I say start, you have 7 minutes to build your city. When I say start, the city planner hasn't figured out what he wants to build and which builders are going to do what, those 7 minutes will go very fast. So if you have the city planner role, do this in the preparation time. And then for everybody, read your cards, what are you accountable for? And do whatever you need to be doing to get ready. Whatever you feel like. So that's city planner. You can make up your own stuff as well. If you're bored with my church, detached house and stuff like that, figure it out. That's your role, city planner.
Could the city planner make up one building that's worth 100,000 points? Could the city...
So I have here a sheet with example points per project. If you keep that in line, then go for it.
Okay.
The facilitator and the secretary stuff you can wait till the first meeting. And that's about it.
So the meetings are after every 7 minutes?
After every 7 minutes. What we'll probably do, it's 11:30ish, is prepare now for 10 to 15 minutes. Have a 7-minute sprint. And we have 7 villages on paper. Do a tactical meeting about that. Do another 7-minute sprint and do a governance meeting. And I don't know if lunch will be before or after the governance meeting. We have to see how. 7 minutes are always 7 minutes, but the time in between we'll see how much
Yes,
time.
with the governance, do you want us to facilitate? Because there's just 3 of us.
And then me makes 4.
Oh, 4. Yay!
That's it. Get ready. I'll give you a 5 minutes heads up before we start, and then to the 7 minutes.
We need to
So-
get into teams, right?
The lead link's choosing teams.
Can we just go around a number of 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, exactly. Let's make this.
hold on. No, hold on.
Two,
Yeah. 3 and 4.
Okay, and now we go around.
1,
2, 3, 4,
1,
2,
3, 4,
1,
2,
3,
4,
1.
2, 3, 4.
And I think it works out nice because I'm leading here 1,
1.
No, that was 3.
3,
1.
1,
3.
Okay.
and that was 4. Okay, then
So we need you to swap with a
So who
2
was 2?
with Jason.
2 of you
Maybe.
switch. You're 2 and he's 3. Make it very difficult. Okay, 1 stays here.
Yes!
1.
On the feedback.
Come on, please.
Spread of
Yeah.
2.
I think we'll have to use that meeting room because we just have
So 2
to.
into the Tapo office,
Yeah.
3 into the
Girls are gonna
Tendesk
win.
office,
Pow, shush.
4 into the little meeting room there.
And remote people. So please pick up a number each of you, and each group please grab a laptop. And there's 4 Jabras around.
Yeah.
So please grab a laptop and a Jabra and connect your remote person.
I know we don't need the Lego yet.
So remote people, that's
And I will bring you the Lego and stuff like that.
The one with the hairy chest, right? That's us.
What they say in school. Alright, so shall we set up
What is the, where are the rules?
The bigger rules, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the crossover thing. Can you remember the crossover now?
The crossover? What do you mean?
There's the
What's the
biggest
crossover?
I need crew. If I just start.
What's your question? If you ask me questions, I can probably answer them.
Are you not in our group?
I'm a coach.
Okay. We've got the raw ready. So there was what were the 2 roles that Koen said were most likely for remote?
There was the safety and one more.
Quality, something.
Yeah, it's safety. Yeah, some kind of specialist.
Yeah, they can do that. That makes sense. And the other question was, it's a crossover. Those rules.
Yeah,
What are the 2 that can't be together?
The 2 that can't be together was. Doesn't it say there anywhere?
Andrew, do you know what roles can't cross over?
You can't be builder and safety. I think you can't be builder and quality.
It can't be quality and safety.
quality and safety. Have you got?
Okay.
No, we don't have the rules.
Okay, fine. I'll print that.
Okay, that's
I would like to be quality
Okay, so
and safety.
Well, you can't.
right.
I'm making my rules.
So if there can be a maximum of 5 builders, or there's 5 builder sheets, I think we should all be builders.
Have you guys successfully got a remote person?
We've got Greg, I've just joined. Hello. Okay, I'm going to be at the
Put him on the Jabra. Oh, you don't have a.
No, but let's do Bluetooth.
It does do
Yeah.
Bluetooth,
Alright, let's see.
because otherwise it's going to be very poor
Yeah.
for.
How do you add Bluetooth on this?
You need to press and hold the Bluetooth on there, Jason. And then you need.
So this is pretty easy. Let's hand out a builder.
Do we have a laptop that has USB?
Maybe.
Like, let's connect Grey up on that one, because it's much easier than
Okay.
messing with Bluetooth.
Thank you.
Let's have everyone start as builder. Where would I be able to
Well, we
start?
might just prepare for a second. We're going to swap you onto Sam's laptop.
How long have we got in terms of planning for a 7 minute sprint?
Give yourself, I'm guessing, 10 minutes.
10 minutes, please.
Where is he?
Oh, okay. You send it to me.
Oh, we've got here as well. Okay, so left. So we said building specialist, and
These are going to be very small houses, by the way.
we said building specialist and safety is most bestest for remotes, right?
There you go.
Okay.
What level of abstraction do we need to go for these buildings? Because if that's the doorway, you're going to have to go walk out.
It said you need 10 pieces at least per construction.
So you
Great.
could just have a line and thing.
Jeff, Greg.
So the door could be symbolic. Just be at the top and do. Yeah.
So long as it passes safety and quality, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay, let me turn this off.
Let's try.
Is that better?
Participate as a player in sections like this.
No, as a
Yeah.
coach. So I'm helping answer questions.
Safety.
So we need to have
we
more-
should.
If
If you remember in the PCT, you have an experienced facilitator facilitate first meeting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So I think we facilitate first.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, right. I'm going to hand building specialist to Greg. Sorry for the lack of buy-in for this one, but apparently it's one that.
Why don't you take a picture of it and slack him that? Can somebody slack him that picture?
Yeah.
We haven't got a role for that though, so. Okay, so secretary and facilitator are for the purposes of the meeting, so you can do that one.
I'm going to take out these blocks. Can I just start building?
Sam, no. Right, so does anyone have any names on specific roles that they caught their eye?
I would like to be a builder, please.
Give them the builders.
I must be exclusively a builder. I think supply is going to be important in terms of
Yeah, I quite fancy being the controller of the blocks. But if anyone desperately wants to do that, then that's fine. I reckon Sam's a good quality man.
I want to be exclusively builder, please. Unless it's required for us to.
The thing is, we've got.
How many do we have?
There are 6 more roles to dish out.
I mean, I'm happy to do city planner as well.
Okay. Tim, any specific roles that you're interested in? We've got supply, whose domain is all of this, so we don't take any of the stuff.
I'm still supply.
What would you do, supply?
No, but not necessarily. I mean, I could say.
Policy supply.
Oh, he said that. Oh, the facilitator has to be the most stubborn one.
So I will be facilitator for the very first meeting, and then afterwards you can select a facilitator for the next meeting.
The facilitator is the stubborn one, right?
Well, I've just sent you your building specialist.
Sam
Role.
is.
You've got that next to him, so it's-
Right, we've got secretary, quality, safety, and supply. So safety oversees the working process to make sure that we're doing it.
Can I be safety and builder? Is that what
Yeah. You just can't be. You can't have quality and safety.
Okay.
Quality and yeah. Okay, so you do that.
I'd like to be supply because I think I'm acting in a supply fashion right now. Instructed.
All right, you take supply. I'll take quality. We've got secretary, purpose, steward the circle's full records and record keeping process. You did a record and minutes of work.
I'll take brief also.
You take the secretary.
Cool.
Right?
So we decided. Sorry, I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
So we'll facilitate first.
What did you say, sorry?
Start into the meeting facilitator.
I think we have
And then let's
a
take over the second meeting.
also.
Yeah, that will be good for us. Then you would get started in as well as facilitator.
At the moment.
But maybe we take the course, start our checklist, metrics, project updates, deal with a few of the tensions on the agenda, and then say, hey, take a few of the agenda
Okay.
points. So halfway through the agenda items,
Okay.
hand it over. They
Okay.
can practice that a bit.
So we're just going to do one of each meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, because fast we do multiple, and I guess it will be a single text and a single conference meeting.
Okay. Cool.
Tim, I'm going to display this one from you.
Thank you.
So just to clarify, I'll be doing the first couple of tensions in each meeting, and then somebody else should take over the facilitator role.
Okay.
So if somebody should volunteer by the time I've done the first couple of tensions.
Can I ask a question about the resources that we have? So in terms of the buildings, they don't have to actually have like set doors, so you can create a minimum viable for each building of 10.
Yeah,
It's going to be quite imaginary.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
the
So you could stack just 10 together and put a roof on it, and that would be fine. It doesn't actually need to have a door or anything like that.
Quality, what do you think about that? Would that get your quality approval?
That's a good point. So I just have to. My own standards to see whether this fits quality.
Icon quality.
No, I'm highly principled, but I've got to go by what the city plan.
I'm going to slip you a couple of Lego.
Cheeky backhander.
Yeah.
Okay,
So everyone's got all the roles now.
so everyone's got their roles.
Oh shit, this is going to be so much pressure. I
Wait,
have
do
no
you know who
idea.
everyone's roles are? Should we run through them so you know who you're coming to for anything?
I think that makes sensible. We need
Who's the builder?
So we're all individually builders.
All 4 of us are builders.
You're all builders.
Yes. This could be messy or really good. And then Sam, what have you got?
I am a builder and a city planner. Also, I need a pen.
Brilliant.
Because I'm a soft drawing.
I'm a builder, secretary, and safety person.
So read out what's on the card just so everyone knows.
Okay, so safety, the purpose is a healthy and safe work environment for our people. My accountabilities are stimulating our people to work safely and take care of themselves and each other. Stopping all construction activities as soon as you see danger on the construction area, and safeguarding our workload policy. And then as a builder, we've all got the same, building constructions as presented by the
They can clean this up and get this all in the right place.
And secretary, steward the circle's formal records and record keeping process, so that's when the meeting starts. And that's the domain, all formal Holacracy records. And
3 minutes till we start. City planners, get your vision sketched out.
Can you bring me some meeting cards? Seems like they didn't take any meeting cards.
James, read out what's so ready to know what you're doing.
Yeah, supply purpose, already at every moment to start construction, accountability to maintaining our supply of building materials with easy access for a builder, preventing waste of building materials. So this is going for, we're going for minimum 10 blocks on everything that we go past. Then what, as a unit, quality, do we need a door on it, Mike?
That's got to be, I think the city planner's got to determine in the division whether
We want you can consult about it.
But where's the original like purpose? Because wasn't it to do with we wanted
SV green,
So those are
convenience, and
nature.
But
It was nature.
convenience
and something else.
the green doesn't green not necessarily mean
that
colour
was
green.
nature. No, so I thought nature.
Nature, convenience, and something else. Fuck it, we're going to build tower blocks.
Yeah, but you can have nature around that. Like.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just build up a legit house.
So
I think like Monopoly, it's just the blocks, it can be as high as they want, but it's not necessarily saying it's tower block.
Yeah.
It's just plotting where things are.
Who has the quality role?
Me.
There you are, okay, and not okay.
It has to be made the same.
Have you got somebody? Great.
Yeah.
So have this, yeah, so if you create a tower, you just need to put a roof on it at each point of it being done, right? And you can just keep going up. And you can add on to like, what is it, like a church or whatever? You go to church.
Each builder has 20 points, right? Each builder can deliver 20 points worth of projects.
Oh, really? Is that it?
So yeah, you've got to be ready to assign us a project each.
And then, and then the building specialist has to take your design blueprint for the project solution. So you've got to liaise with the building specialist.
So what stuff
To actually say what the
If you keep going, yeah, I think we just, if you keep separating it out like that,
Yeah.
it's golden, yeah,
It's a
because
handy.
we all need to be able to, I don't know, all too close. Just basically filling in all the time.
Okay.
Right, so you only do 20, that's a bit upsetting.
You've got some big ones in mind already.
Well, I think we're going to need
It's definitely.
So that means you've only got 80
80 points this round. So, but we're going to have 2 rounds, so maybe someone does.
We want to get I would suggest we want to get a minimum viable product out, so not do more than 20 per round per person this time. Because we want to have like a city working and then add to it rather than do long-term projects.
But you won't be able to do any long-term projects. Anyone over 20 won't be viable. But so if we want one part, someone doesn't have to work on one part.
Okay. I think that's fair, but then I
But could two of us do the park at the same time?
We could do, but I think that would be.
And then how many houses do that could work?
You have 2 houses.
Someone could do 2 houses in one round.
Yeah, fuck detached.
Fair enough.
We're having a project. For now.
House complete. So what's the difference between house built and house completed?
Where's the house completed?
House built.
Okay, we start in a minute.
Oh, God. I don't feel we have enough bits.
This would be 10-3.
Ridiculously simple.
But then, you could use some of these tiny ones that take a month to make up a 10.
What's the thing? 10.
It's just going to be really conceptual.
Yeah.
Right, so here, there's 1 of 10.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go. Every construction consists of this minimum of 10 parts and have a single dominant colour.
I have got, sorry.
As a single document.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. What, do you know the difference between house built and house?
Sorry.
What's that?
The brief. Because I think I'm supposed to translate it into something for you guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Which brief?
Building specialist. So we've got to have a...
Okay. Screenshot or just maybe read it aloud?
You've got the screenshot. We've got the...
Oh, because I wanted to draw up what I thought was going to be. I don't know.
What's your accountability say?
You've got to make the project brief, you mean?
Yeah, you make the project brief for the...
Yeah, I've got the project brief. The project brief is, got a police station here.
That is making the brief.
Yeah.
Translate projects. So you've got to draw your... Yeah, you've got to put this on the table.
Where you want the...
So I want
And then Greg's going to tell us what it looks like.
I want a shop here. I want
Right.
It's got PS or
You can
something.
draw it.
Yes, a shop. And then you got your road here. You got the middle. You got your park. Okay. And then house.
That's PSO.
Police station. House.
We're doing this all in one round. I
No.
think I might run out of blocks.
We can do little houses.
That's my initial plan.
How much is worth what? How much a house is built? Just 10 points.
What's the difference between house built and house completed?
Alright, 3, 2, 1, there you go. You might want to keep your own timer so you know how much time you have to.
I can do that. Got the
Cool.
other-
What do you reckon?
So this is kind of the houses are arranged in a sort of a square, right?
Yeah. Basically, all I want.
Like a little beautiful garden.
So yeah, that's the
I
part.
want parts through the centre and then outside the houses and various bits and pieces.
Yeah, so Greg, I think you've got 80 points to allocate for this round. So you can allocate different builders to build different...
No, I assign construction projects.
okay.
Those points,
6.5.
what is it?
Quickly, I think we should start getting stuff
Sorry, what's
started.
that, Rick?
Those points, what do you mean by that?
So you have 20 parts, so each thing will have like an assigned amount of points it takes. So that's 10 points. Detached house is 15 points. So we can only do.
Like, can you give out who's building what?
So, Sam, give us...
I want you to do that.
Where we haven't got a church.
No.
You want to make a church?
Where's the church?
Where do you want the church? Yeah.
I've only got 20 points.
Yeah, but you start.
So yours won't be completed at the end of the round, but we know we're okay with that.
So I'm going to do it.
We need to know what the church is going to look like, right?
Doing?
So building specialist Greg has to design what each thingy looks like, what each building looks
You
like.
can't see the materials.
There you can.
You need to see the, yeah. You normally do this with like prototype.
Could I?
How does emptying those points relate to the material we've got?
Nothing. It's
It
not
doesn't. So you can choose a colour for us maybe. What colour do you want the church? So then we can work off that.
But what's the goal of the project essentially?
It needs to pass inspection.
Needs to pass
We've got
inspection, needs to
5
be in
minutes.
one per. We need to get.
Can I point out that you guys have 5 minutes left to build the buildings?
You just I'll take the blues. Someone else takes.
Who's the inspector?
I'm doing quality.
Yeah.
Is this my task?
That's your task.
Okay.
Those are your 2 tasks. That's your task. And I'm
You
going
can use that for like roofs and
landscapes.
stuff. I'm just going to do the bottom. Don't use bottom.
Okay.
So we need to know, the building specialist Greg, I think, has to tell us what the building should look like.
But he doesn't have to use a lot of words. He can say it needs to look big, or it needs to look small, or it needs to look flat. He doesn't have to say like, this is exactly how it needs to look.
Let's just sign off the rules.
So Greg, succinct instructions, I think.
Yeah, I think you should have very low buildings.
Yeah, that's
and
fine.
but you can have the outlines of every building already before you building the whole thing. So build first.
Okay. Greg, have you got any ideas what you want the park to look like? We've got park with grass and multiple trees landscapes.
It should have lots of greens.
Greens.
Lots of greens. Thank you.
With any like place to walk, just green everywhere.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
it's in the centre, so it doesn't really matter. So everyone can get there anyway.
Okay. I can do green. There's not much green.
And obviously you want the windows of the houses to face the park.
Windows are a luxury, Greg. We can't deal with those right now.
The rest of the teams has buildings on them that already.
That's fine, no rushing.
I think you're catching up.
Well, there's
There's
one
no
house
past
done.
quality though.
One house done. It's looking in. We've done. Mate, that's a house. Look at it. It's got chimney on the top. It's got a couple of like windows.
That's not going to pass building inspection,
Mate,
lads.
the building inspector, he loves it.
Oh, great.
Exactly. You got to use one dominant colour.
This is the dominant colour in that they're all green.
How many boxes do you use? You've got 10 on there minimum.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, that's it. Leave it. Don't build on top of it.
Oh, I can't build it. Oh no, because I have it's 35 points.
For what?
That. So does that do I have to leave like half off? Like not completely?
Why?
Because you're only allowed to do 20. Is that right?
Yeah, you're allowed to 20.
Sick. Okay.
But you,
If you just build 2 houses. Yours is 2 houses!
Oh, I think they. Alright. I didn't even know.
Oh, God.
Yeah, both of you all two.
I'd just like to help a little bit and point out that it says that each builder can do only 10 points. Does it say that 2 builders can collaborate? Does it say that 2 builders cannot collaborate?
This is my vision.
But maybe you can be doing this building together with somebody else, and then you can get 35 points.
No, I want to wait until next round to finish it.
Okay.
I don't think they need police. There's not enough guards.
Just put something like this in there. So that's not completed.
Which one?
Like church, because I've only got 20 points to play with.
That's fine.
Alright. That's all I can do for my park for now. It's 40 points. It's green.
That looks good. That looks good.
So quality, checking every building. I think that's just C.
That's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
10.
I think it'd be very cool to mark any of them down since we're one team.
Diamond colour.
I want them to last.
I've got to fulfil my role, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
If you do that, I want to literally knock it out of you.
So that really needs some standards.
This is like
Is everyone working safely? My role is to make sure you're not overdoing the things.
Greg says the buildings have to be low.
that's quite low.
Yeah, to focus on the foundation. Don't build like elaborate structures. Just have the simple stuff ready.
It's not low. It's not low as far as I'm concerned.
Greg, can you see
That's
the
not
whole?
low.
No, mate.
Can you see the whole thing?
That's low.
What if I just did this, you tick?
But no, I want to do it
again?
Yeah, but that's after the round, isn't it?
Mike, if you seriously do,
Yeah.
you'll be a job's worth and mark these.
Mate, we're here to win.
How many points is the police
What is
station?
that for?
Oh shit, no, it's supposed to be.
That's the house.
That's got 2
You
hours.
touch any blue again, mate.
That's the police station.
Is that, how many points is that?
35.
Right.
It's nowhere near complete, guys.
Right, next.
Everything over.
Ready to go.
How do we know about safety? Where's
Mine's safety. So I've asked everyone if they feel that they are not overdoing things.
No, definitely not.
And everyone said they're fine. So if I see any danger on construction, I have to stop you guys. In 7 minutes?
Ah, shit, it's like. Oh, you know what, okay.
Have we got another section to go?
You're out of action.
I'm out of action.
I've got 10 points next round.
Cool, you'll help me and we'll deal with A, detached house. Chase, after that.
Hey!
What?
You know, road.
Spies from a competitor.
That's yours for next round, Chase.
It's nice, I don't want to live there.
Boo!
Fighting talk.
Can we see it?
Right, we're done.
Yes,
Get inspiration?
We're done. We've had 7 minutes. Right.
Let's go see what you guys have done.
Can we sabotage anyone?
Well, we'll be back in a second.
I'll wait here. If there's a talk in the main room, can somebody please call me? Is there a talk in the main room?
No, we're just looking at each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have anywhere near this much like it, by the way. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, I know. I'm very jealous.
I feel quite happy at how ours has gone now.
I am very impressed with your work.
Okay. Oh look, and they've got up in some park, which is all green, right?
I don't know, that's my tension with Robin. I don't believe in his.
I don't know, I'm sure with it because, but only because I know you don't have that much green.
Yeah.
From a supply point of view, that's what I'm interested in.
You're right, Greg.
Look at this. So actual, ours is the only one that actually looks like a town.
So what is your comment about other people's towns at the moment?
What's this?
How do you feel about how you're doing competitively at the moment?
I think we're doing very well. And if we lose this, this is fixed.
Okay, I'll go and...
This is for agenda building. You can build an agenda on top of this.
Yeah.
In the secretary sheet, there's a sheet with checklists and metrics. They're predefined, so you can just
Okay. Okay.
And there are one of those small cards, the empty ones as well. So as secretary, you could make a list, but you can also make it in small cards and just hand it out.
Okay.
And the goal is
You mean they have small cards with attentions already written on them?
No. So it's for outcomes, for the actions, the projects to do in the next round.
Okay.
So like
Right.
we now have.
Every builder can do it.
And now you have these.
Mhm.
We just make
Okay.
What's in the next round?
Yeah.
Build a sports center. Whatever the outcome is.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 20 points of project.
As facilitators, we get everything on the agenda.
Yeah.
When the meeting ends, you can immediately start the next 7-minute sprint.
Yeah.
So you want to have all work divided together. That's all the stuff you want to put on the agenda.
Yeah.
So the intention is ready for this next 7-minute sprint directly after the meeting.
It's a tactical.
It's a tactical meeting.
How much the meeting?
Take it to 45 minutes. 7 minutes meeting. Okay. See how many boards you have to agenda. When do we start? Good.
What happens if
When do we start?
Guys, whenever you're ready, we can start a tactical meeting, which is about designing projects and so on.
Okay.
And as soon as we've done the tactical meeting, we can do another sprint. So that means what we're doing. So I'm going to start off facilitating.
Okay.
So you need cards.
Yeah, like these cards are really useful. So the tactical meetings against one of these. Thank you, I know what it was. Like, who wants to be the next facilitator after me? Because I'll do just the first couple of tensions.
How about Jay? Actually, no,
You can't be the lead link. You can't be the lead link and the facilitator.
Okay, so
That's one of the restrictions.
That's one of you two. I've got secretary.
Okay. So you're going to be the next facilitator. So have a tactical card, have a tactical card, and you can take a photo of one of those for Greg, so he knows what the hell's going on.
There's 2 slides.
So there should be a kind of checklist thing somewhere. Somebody should have a checklist and metrics and stuff. Probably the lead link. Do you have a list of metrics, just so we have that ready?
I might be the secretary one.
That looks like a checklist. Yeah, that looks like a checklist of metrics. Right, cool. So you've got that as a secretary. So we'll set 45 minutes for this meeting. 45 minutes.
425.
45.
Okay.
45 minutes. We can do it sooner if we run out of tensions.
Can we do it in 15?
If you can be efficient, then run out of tensions.
Alright, we're going to smash these tensions.
Okay, so I'm going to start the timer now. The meeting. Okay, so I'm going to stop the timer now.
carry on.
Okay, I'll start the timer now. And
Love this little camera.
Secretary, if you could use this as a kind of place to write down like any intentions. But so first of all, we're going to do a check-in. Now, because we don't want to take too long, let's do like a very quick check-in, just a few words. How do you feel? Get present. No distractions. So I'll start with myself. I'm really kind of excited. It's fun to be here. I feel like a bit of an outsider.
Oh.
I'm in.
Yeah, I feel energized to smash it. And then
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning it was a bit.
And I feel like. Sorry, Greg.
Yeah, that's it really.
Okay.
Cool. And I say
I wish I was present.
I feel like we're just winning at this. So yeah, I'm in.
All right. So checking around is over. We move to the checklist review section. And there I will read the list of recurring actions, those checklists, and whoever is responsible for that can say whether that's correct or not. So first, safety. We worked in a safe way.
I will say yes, we did. We kept within our boundaries.
Can we have a tick on that checklist? And quality. The buildings can be lived in from the quality specialist.
100%.
Okay, so we have to take that.
All regulations.
And then city planner, the completed structures fit our purpose, focused on nature, convenience and safety.
At the moment, I would suggest that it's more convenient for the builders.
So is that a no then?
That's a yes, let's carry on.
Okay. And for everybody, I have worked with all my talents.
Oh yeah, we just pulled it out of the bag. To be fair.
I feel like I can still explore some of my talents.
Okay.
Not necessarily in the context of this role. Like I can put my leg behind my head, but I'm not going to do it in the context of this.
So I'm saying
Your
that.
building talent?
Stick to me, please.
So I mean, it's okay. It doesn't have to be like a yes on everything. Maybe some things are no this round. So maybe we don't feel like we've worked with all our talents. Maybe there's some things that we can improve.
No, I think that we've, especially compared to the other groups, we could clearly got to we're very talented.
That's not quite what the checklist says. It says, have you worked with all your talents personally?
Yep. No, but obviously.
Okay, one yes.
No, it's good.
Greg, do you feel you worked with all your talents?
It definitely required all my talents, yes.
Okay. 2 yeses.
I think no one uses all of their talents all the time.
So 1 no, 2 yeses. Jason?
you can always bring more.
Okay. 2 no's, 2 yeses, and Tim?
I think I worked all my tree planting talents, yes.
So 3 yeses, 2 no's. If you maybe just put 3 Y, 2 N, something like that.
Need a better pen, but yeah.
Yeah.
3 years.
Okay. So we'll on to the checklist review, and then we go to the metrics review, where each role assigned a metric reports on it briefly, highlighting the latest data. So first from the city planner, the total number of completed and quality approved constructions.
What's the question?
So what is the total number of completed and quality approved constructions?
2.
2.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 approved. And from the quality person, quality role, the number of not approved buildings in this round.
3.
Okay. From all the builders, the number of not constructions? The number of constructions you didn't complete.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3.
Because it didn't have sign off.
No,
And
because
it's
it's
done all
time yet.
points.
none of them failed safety regulations, let's just say.
And from the supply role, can we have the supply of construction materials estimate rounded to the next 10?
Well,
Like, give us an estimate based on looking at the table of how much construction materials.
Oh, left again.
That gives you an idea of how many buildings we still built if we ran out.
25.
No, it's left on the table.
So 250 then, you mean?
Yeah, 250, yeah.
So 250, right. Okay. That's the metrics review. Do we have any ongoing projects at the moment?
We do. We've got the police station, the church, and the park.
So can we have for each project, so let's take the police station first. Any updates?
The update is it's maybe a new revamp. I've decided that this looks like a shithole, so we're going to actually make them look like houses, and we're going to make this police station look like a police station.
Okay. For the park, any updates from whoever's not doing that project?
Park is half finished, needs a bit more landscaping, and will be done in the next round.
Okay. And what was that other thing?
That's the church.
Church. For the church, any updates?
Yeah, the text just needs to go on, and then we're all crazy.
Great stuff. Okay. Great. And now we go and build an agenda. So you need a section there. And basically, the way we do the building of the agenda is anybody who has a tension that involves basically trying to get to the next action or something, a kind of operational tension, can name a tension, just a couple of words so that you can remember what your tension was. And then afterwards, we'll sort them and figure out in what order to address them. And then we'll process each tension one by one. So, does anybody have any operational tensions?
Yeah. Wow.
So so a couple of words each. Like, so Mike?
I've got tension with that, and we're focusing too much on long term.
Can I have 2 words?
Long term. 2 words.
Not long term, just so that you can remember it when the long term comes to discuss it.
Okay, long term.
Long term, can you write long term? Thank you. Sam, you have one as well?
Not my vision.
Not my vision, that's fine. 3 words, it's okay. Do you have another thing?
Upset about that.
Okay, upset about comment.
No, scrap that. Then sure I scrap that.
Does anybody else have any other operational tensions, which basically involve trying to get other people to do stuff, or requesting information, or sharing information, or maybe even tensions that have to do with roles and how they're structured, and who's assigned to roles?
More time to build.
Yeah.
More time to build.
Yes.
More time.
Can we?
More
You
time.
can't impact. No, can we?
Well, it's essential.
Less planning. Yeah.
More guidance.
More guidance.
Yeah.
Take it personally.
Jason, do you have any tensions?
Around my own working. Yeah.
Or how other people are working with you?
No.
No? Those are quite fun, so I want to sort of cheat a little bit and encourage you to have tensions, because that's how we learn, by processing the tensions. So if there's stuff
There's a color.
Sorry?
A color rising from Sam.
Okay.
Bit of color, a bit more.
Direction. You want more direction. That's fine. I heard it from around the room.
It's not good everyone now. So Greg is speaking. Greg? What was it?
Yeah, I would like the drawing of the city planner to have colors.
Sorry, some colours. Let's just write
Colours.
colours.
I have a tension around the strategy to win and maximize points.
So strategy to win.
Yeah, that's my fucking tension.
Distrust in resources.
Distrust and resources. Okay.
Just a
Did you have some tension?
Building materials.
Building materials. Let's write it down. Hold on, guys. Not everybody at once. First of all, it sucks for remote. Secondly, it's not really following the structure. We're not having a discussion yet. We're just listing the tensions. Does anybody else have any more burning tensions? I feel like we have enough to work with here.
It's a lot.
Is everybody okay if we proceed with actually processing the tensions?
I think we've got that.
Let's do this.
Yeah. When I need to prioritize.
Okay, does any of those tensions seem like the most urgent tension that needs to be dealt with first, or can we just go through them in order?
We've got long term, not my vision, more time, more guidance, colours, strategy to win, distrust in resources, building materials.
There's a couple. A vision and guidance, I feel, go together quite well.
No, we're not trying to group them, they're separate tensions. We're just saying, does one of them seem like, does anybody like feel that their tension must be processed first?
No.
No? Okay, so we'll go through them in turn. So long term, that was
That's me.
That was you, Jason. So what do you need?
What do I need? I need I need to see more progress in the short term.
So is that you can request the next action or request an outcome project, request some information. So if you look at the other side of the card, you have 5 things you can request. Share some information or try to set some kind of notification.
I more money. I'd like to request that in the next sprint, we look to focus on building smaller buildings that can house people quickly, so that we can build a city, as big a city in the smallest time possible.
So this could be, I mean, it sounds to me like the idea of sharing information, or you could be trying to set some kind of expectation. Which one meets your need closest?
I would like to set an expectation.
Okay, so here we're having a tactical meeting, so we're not in the governance meeting, which will come next. But I would encourage you to write this down, so you remember to bring it in the governance meeting, because it's a very useful potential to bring into the governance meeting. It's not your turn yet, so when, like, right now we're trying to meet Michael's meeting.
Request.
I mean, you can do both and share the information, which you kind of have, and also make a note for the governance meeting that you would like to set an expectation. Does that meet your need?
Yeah, I feel like I voiced my opinion and got some next steps.
Okay. Write it down if you want. Maybe on the phone or something. Okay, so that's the first agenda item done. Yeah. Cross it off. And then let's move on to the next item, which is not my vision. Who was this from?
Do you not feedback and stuff?
So I'm going to do the timeout and stop the process of the meeting, just to answer your question.
Yes.
So, what was your question?
My question was to everyone who came there, was whether or not you knew that we were in 60 building points.
So that's a potential that you might have. It's not my extension. So you can at any point add another agenda item to here, so that you get your space to also share information or request actions and so on.
Does every question need your attention?
So, well, if you're feeling the need to share some information there, that is a tension that you're feeling. Like you're feeling that people need to have this information and they don't have it. So that is a tension that you want to address, maybe by sharing information. But the key is that you get your own protected space to address that, rather than taking over Mike's protected space. And so would you like to add another agenda item? You can do that.
No, I think he knows because I just said it. In a normal meeting, I would have.
So in a normal meeting, you just say like, add an item here, like, whatever it is that you want to say.
160 bullet points.
Awesome. Cool. So I was over timeouts now, back in the meeting. The next item was not my vision. Who was this one?
This was for me.
Okay, so what's
my vision? Next action is, could we make all buildings look like the buildings that they would represent in their life, please?
That sounds to me more like an expectation.
Expectation. Can all buildings look like normal buildings?
So I'm trying to clarify this because
What's the difference between?
So I mean, you could again there you could share some information, or you could share some information and set a new expectation. You can't actually set governance in the tactical meeting, but you can express that what you want to see happen, and then make a note of that for the governance meeting. So then the expectations can be changed there.
What would fall under request and next action?
So, what would fall under request and next action? For example, you could ask as a next action from the quality role to go and approve all the buildings, like review all the buildings. That would be an action that the quality role should take on if you ask them. You could ask them to take on a project, for example. You could ask them to take on a building project. Those are the first two. Request for information and share information are kind of obvious, I think. And then stuff that involves setting expectations falls more into the governance, or falls into the governance meeting, which we'll do after the next sprint. But so it's really useful to take a note of those, because then in the governance we'll be playing with those. Cool. So it sounds to me, Sam, like what you're saying is basically you want to share this information for now, because that's all you can do with it, and then you want to set an expectation, so you then make a note to bring this into the governance meeting.
But by the governance meeting, it's already too late. It's the last meeting we had in the day.
So, for the purpose of the simulation, let's assume that it's not the last meeting ever and it's an ongoing thing. In reality, you could, if there was an urgent need to set governance, you could call an emergency governance meeting. in this case, we're going to just have to make do with reality as it has been defined.
I think people are aware of that.
So, time back in. Is your need met?
Sort of.
So, okay.
Where you go.
Okay, next agenda item is more. I feel like, are you ready to take over as facilitator?
Can you just
I'll do one more.
Can you do it full time?
But I think it's helpful for everybody else to also learn how to do these.
I've been more actively involved in doing this. Yeah.
Would anybody else like to learn how to facilitate? Like maybe Sam, you'd like to try facilitating as well, and I can step back into the coaching role.
So I'm just reading this out, right?
So I can do one more if you want. I can do one more if you want.
Yeah.
And then I'll take over the next one.
Yeah.
As a facilitator, you're basically just going through this and asking the person whose attention it is what they need and protecting their space, and then allowing them to get what they need particularly.
Cool.
So who put in more time?
Greg.
Greg. Greg, what do you need?
I need better specification from the planner, from the city planner. More detail.
More what, sorry?
More color, basically.
No, this is for more time.
No, this is more time. You have a section called more time.
Oh, yeah, I think in general we need more time to both discuss the specification. Yeah, that's pretty much what I need. I mean, the builders need more time, but that's my need is more to just have a look at the specifications and the constraints of the project.
So what you can do is you could request the next action from somebody specific, or you could request them to take on a project, or you could request some information, or you could share some information, or you could try to set a new expectation, or you can do a combination of those things.
I guess it's more of a expectation.
A what, sorry? Expectation. I mean, you could kind of do both, where you request the next action for the next round, and also set an expectation there, because it sounds like you want a meeting with somebody, like a discussion with somebody.
Yeah, and so maybe it was the city planner in the next action to have a meeting with me where we discuss the project before the builder starts building.
You're the policy planner, right? Does this seem like an action that fits your role's purpose?
Oh, so you can get involved.
I can ask you now whether you want to take because I have to ask you whether you're okay to take this action.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to.
Okay, so we have the next action.
You schedule a meeting with me, you know, ahead of the next building round.
Yeah, now normally we write this down in Glassrod as well, but that's not well. If you guys remember that you have this action, so you take this action to have a chat with Greg. Does this meet your need, Greg?
Yes.
And you may have also an expectation later that you want to set in governance, but anyway. So, moving on to the next agenda item. Sam, would you like to try to see it?
Yeah, sure.
You've got a card.
I've got a card here. Whose agenda item was more guidance?
Mine.
That was yours.
That was mine. I would like to request information from can I ask for 2 roles for information?
Yeah.
From the city planner and the building specialist as some more guidance on what the building should look like. I feel like that was not clear initially when we were taking individual buildings, and we were given not enough direction as to what the building should look like. That's it. Oh yes, now you guys can give me information. That's how it works.
So, quick time out. Just to clarify, I will, like, there I made a mistake, I answered the question directly. For the purpose of the meeting, I don't exist. But if Sam calls a timeout, and he can turn to me and ask me a question if he's confused about how to proceed. But Sam is facilitating the meeting, and so he's given to lead the next steps.
What do you need from both the city planner and the building specialist?
More information.
More information. How would you like this information to be provided to you?
Verbally, or in writing is fine.
When?
Before the next build round.
Before the next build round. stop you there. Building specialist. As part of our city planner and building specialist meeting, are we able to bring the builders in so that we can share our vision?
Yeah, good idea.
Great. Do you think, did you get what you need? Sorry, just in the meeting. Did you get what you need from that?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
We have a calendar invite as well.
You're crossed out, sorry.
Sorry.
Greg, your next point is more colours. Do you feel like your point was, has already been gone through, or do you want to read these comments?
So I'm going to call the time out. Sorry, I'm going to call. Hold on. I'm going to call the time out here. Generally, it's not a good idea to step in and say like push onto the participants that has your meeting met already. Just ask them what they need, and if their need is already met, they'll tell you. They're not going to just repeat the same thing.
Can you just let Greg know and see the active work that's been going on since this meeting, because there's a lot of action going on. Bit of colour. You want colour?
Lots of colour.
Nice.
Okay, so your agenda item for that. I know it's fine. Your agenda item was more coloured. What do you need from us?
What do I need?
Yeah. Well, now what do you? Now that you've seen that, is there anything else you need?
No, thanks.
Do you feel your tension has been relieved?
It has.
That's
Always love it.
Your attention is your attention is the strategy to bring Jason.
Yeah.
What do you need from us in order to overcome your tension?
I think we've already touched.
Only on those five.
Or several of them.
Or only any of those five.
Yeah, no, it's been discussed. It's fine. I have no any option.
Has your attention been relieved?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Smash the extensions.
Tim.
That was mine. Disrupting resources.
Oh, that was me. That was me. What do I need? I don't need anything now that we've agreed this meeting with both myself, the board of directors, and the boards. After that meeting, we'll have a better vision, and I feel like my distrust in resources will probably vanish, although you never know. Have I got what I need? Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
Lastly, we have building materials.
I don't need anything now. I can clearly see what materials we have around. It's all been lovely and colour-coded now.
Do you feel your tension's been released?
It has, yes.
Following this meeting, has anyone had any tensions that have arisen whilst in gone through those agenda items? Do you think that we can move on to the meeting prior to the next build?
Yep.
Oh, scrap that. Closing round. Each person shares a closing reflection. No discussion, please. Greg, if we start with you, you could just share your closing reflection based on this tactical meeting that we've had.
It's a reflection.
Yeah, just a reflection. Doesn't have to be long.
Yeah, it was interesting first try to work with you guys.
Mine.
Thanks. Thanks for the beautiful blue building there. That's the police station, right?
Yeah.
No discussion. No discussion, guys. Please. Are we allowed to discuss when someone asks you a question?
Ignore everyone.
Harsh, isn't it? My closing reflection is that I think we should be well on our way to building the best city that we can. Or town, although if we call it a theatre, it's a city, who knows? That's my closing statement.
My closing statement is that tactical meetings are not as confusing as I thought they would be.
My closing statement is tactical meetings are. It's like it would be. Because I've been focusing too much on the work, not the meeting structure.
My closing statement is that I am enjoying seeing how we're growing together and resolving tensions, and I'm also very much enjoying Sam's facilitation.
In my role as coach, I'd like to also have a closing statement. Which is, I'm really impressed with how quickly and efficiently it went. You guys are fucking great at this. Cool. Well,
as a facilitator, that's null and void, but we'll move on.
So we finished the meeting. Just to clarify the thing about no discussion. You know, it's not like we're stopping people from having discussions, just not during the meeting structure. So you know, this is quick. It's like a couple of minutes. If people want to walk off and have a discussion, they're free to do that. It's just we're keeping the meeting efficient. That way, everybody else can go off and do this.
Once these meetings are 5 to 10 minutes, that's when you'll see that take effect, I think. Because we're having meetings where there is a lot of discussion and people are joking about that back and forth, that's when you'll see it come to a side when the meetings are much more efficient. By being efficient, it makes this a bit more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, tactical meetings are usually scheduled to be about 1 hour a week, and it's possible that they finish quicker. It's possible they're slower. It depends on what the needs are.
What would be the context of a tactical meeting within GrantTree?
So, like for example, the tax rates meeting that happens weekly, that should be a tactical meeting. And if you imagine it running through this structure, like imagine how efficient it would be running through this structure compared to what it is at the moment.
So for like a driver, I'm checking on some of the result, yeah, being rated today. Then it would be number 2 would be retrospectives.
Well, there's no retrospectives thing there.
Yeah, but like, so it will come under checklist review, right? Recurring actions.
You could have a recurring, like a checklist, like did we, I don't know what checklist the tax rates team will come up with, like, no, but there will be probably a metric of how many claims and how much did we file last week. That would be maybe a sensible one, but it's up for you guys to decide what actually helps you to get a sense of where you are. That's what the checklist and the metrics does. So you get a sense of where you are and like see if anything's been missed.
It wouldn't be similar to anything we've got at the moment in terms of what we do. So touch-based meeting at the moment it's not, there wouldn't be any metrics, it would be, there's nothing.
Yeah, and what there is at the moment, there's this kind of retrospective section which is a bit vague, it's not quite clear what you achieved. And then there's a kind of amorphous, like everybody brings their attention and it's not clear what the process is for dealing with them, which this clarifies the process for dealing with them, which becomes much more clean and efficient for the person bringing the attention. So they're not sitting there trying to talk, and like there's no reaction and they don't know what's going on. There's a clear process that to get their attention addressed. That's an example of something that will become a tactical meeting.
So attention would be, for example, something like, I've had an interesting thing happen in a claim and I want to talk about it.
It would be, basically, I mean, once you get used to this, you bring attention when you have one of those.
Because then it comes into this shared information.
So it could be shared information, yeah, I've had this thing happen to this claim, I thought you should all know that because it might be useful to you. That could be how you resolve your tension. And you have the space to resolve your tension with everybody who's at the meeting there. Or it could be that you want to request the next action from somebody who's in the ground talking to them since the last meeting, or since you sensed the tension, and then you do that in the meeting. And as you get used to it, obviously, once you know that certain things are expectations around rules and stuff, you basically know to save those up for the governance meetings anyway. Okay, so we finished with like 16 minutes to go. Is there any more questions?
No. My only question is in the context of this exercise, right? So we've now scheduled a meeting with city planners, builders, and building specialists. Does that come in the 7-minute sprint, or does that come beforehand?
I mean, I reckon, given that we finished 15 minutes early, we could have a quick meeting before, and I'll go, in the meantime, as coach, I will go and find out the answer to your question. And who knows what happens in this room?
And is this something you get lost? Does this have to follow the format of a tactical meeting?
No, it doesn't. You can have meetings.
Just the normal meeting.
Just the tactical meetings and the governance meetings have their set formats. But if you want to have an inefficient meeting, you also.
That's just.
If you want to be shit. As I was mentioning in the previous talk, I found that once you get used to this kind of really nice, almost surgical format for these meetings, it becomes quite frustrating to be in a kind of inefficient meeting and stuff. So you start to be like, no, hold on, one person at a time. Like you're the one who's saying, let's deal with your need first, rather than moving on to everybody's needs at the same time. Because that's when it becomes, you know, I mean, you've all been in these kind of meetings where one person says something, and then another's like, yeah, but that doesn't solve this other thing. And then the third one says like, yeah, but what about this? And then suddenly you have this huge problem in the middle that can't be solved because it's like 5 different people's tensions that are grouped into one. So focusing on solving one thing at a time is a really good practice in general.
Yeah, in terms of like actually looking at this probably was actually my attention, which isn't explained properly. In terms of what we're doing next, are we actually really clear, all of us individually, what builds we're on and how we maximise the points that we're going to put?
Well, I'm happy to give it a sit plan.
I think you just have to go with this and bring that attention next time.
You want to know.
So that's not like a request for information that you could have done during the tactical meeting.
But I think it might differ. So your question will be answered.
In setting up this meeting, because we want to make sure we're
you can do everything that you can do in the tactical meeting.
So we have 1 year now until the governance meeting, is that correct?
No, I'm not sure. It might be a little bit quicker than that.
governance meetings.
Only 20, otherwise you're not staying safe.
Yeah. So you're focused on that purely, whereas
I can only do that.
you've almost did. You've got extra 20 to work on that.
Also, it doesn't just revolve, you don't just keep making.
So you can only make.
I know the maximum, but I thought you could still, those projects would just continue. You could just.
You could
do more houses.
If I wanted to do more houses, I would.
Oh, but you told me to scrap this.
So then
Those are done.
Yeah, but I thought we were still doing more. I thought we just.
Yes.
I'm actually going to off for a little. I'm going to change location, go back home.
Okay.
I'm actually running out of battery, so I'll be back in. Is the next? It's in 1 hour. The next one? Or?
No, the next one's in.
I'm not sure.
So 15 minutes or something?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
After that.
Okay.
The next big one.
Do you mean the next like? Do you mean the next sprint, or do you mean the next like big session?
Well, do we have like? I don't know.
So for this exercise, the sprints are going to be continuing. I think we're doing like another few more.
One more.
Just doing one more, and then after that we'll probably have lunch or governance, and then lunch.
By lunch you mean calling back like 60 families.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll be back in about 15 minutes then.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. Nice one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
See you later.
See you.
Right.
So yeah, basically, I just wanted to, because basically what happened was we just like, bang, start 7 minutes ago. So it was all a bit. So
I understand why people can't see it in my head. Basically, we've got 40 points each over 2 turns. 10's focusing on those two. You always had 10, and you had another 20 you could use. You had 30, so you got 10 spare. Police station takes 35. We would then work on a detached house together, so 15.
What's the difference between the detached house and the house?
And you want me to do
How do we know
those? You want shops?
I want one shot.
How do we know in terms of detached houses like relative to the
Let's put detached with. See, that's the thing.
This is building
These need to look like actual houses. And now we know what we're doing. Pretty easy to just build a massive house. So yeah, I think detached house is a garage next to it, basically.
Okay.
So you want them to look like?
I want it to look like houses. Yeah.
I can definitely make some judge.
Put a tower on it. Really nice. Clock tower.
Sweet.
Can we just start a sprint?
Yeah, if we can.
I'll give you a set time now.
You are.
Do it.
Wait, can we start sprint?
Yeah, why not? We're fucking adults.
Please set the time.
Alright, 1, 2, 3, go. 7 minutes.
Right, shop done. Can you call it a team controller? Because I'm thinking in terms of the height. I like it, but I think that's a shopping centre. So can
Shopping centre?
Yes, it's fucking good going big thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry.
It's not meant to be picked up. Foundation.
Yeah.
Solid foundation.
No, you didn't.
You used a really shoddy crane.
No. Get that fixed.
Solid.
Yeah.
So we're going to start the round now?
Yeah, we just started.
Or you started your timer?
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. This is a very quiet round.
Oh, we're focused.
We know what we're doing now.
Quality control, please. Solid.
Hold on, as part of my additional duties as a builder.
So I'm basically, I can't do anything else apart from organise the finance.
Yeah.
Making sure. Awesome.
And try to notice while this round is going on whether there's expectations you'd like to have from other people that aren't being met, like the kind of things that you were raising previously that Mike and Sam were raising. Because after this we're going to do a governance meeting.
So there's stuff to do with making it look more pretty, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think this one could be visited first.
And stuff that added to it, a bit of colour.
No, just make it look like a fucking house.
It does look like
Oh, it does from this side. Sorry, I didn't see it.
It does look like a house. It's a little modern
Presentation.
I didn't clock, mate. I'm so sorry.
Is that part of our building that's
I have to say, your houses actually look like houses. It's pretty impressive.
the church is really coming?
Yeah, I like the church.
Church is finished, mate. Quality control and approved. 1, 2, 3.
Was that an earthquake?
I just want this to be more solid because you can still see that's a big chunk that's not joined to that
It's
chunk.
joined if you actually pick it apart like you're doing it. You mentalist.
Alright, you know what?
Let me use some flat. Let me use some.
Do you need to set these expectations first? So they can know what you're doing?
We need to collaborate on a shot. We've got 4.5 minutes left, Samuel.
No,
We need to collaborate on a detached house. Sorry. Alright, do you want me to? I'll start with the garage.
Could you just, if you start, I'll finish off this police station.
I'll start with the garage. That's great.
Is this a police station or is it like a police bunker?
It's a police station.
See, that's what I'm saying, quality control.
What is Greg doing?
He's gone.
His battery's dying.
Battery's dying.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Oh, that's a shame.
What was great? Does someone need to step in?
He was
So,
Building specialist.
So it's just irrelevant, basically.
right. What do you want me to build for the? Where's the shop? Who's doing the shop?
Here's the shop, mate. The shop's on steroids now. It's like a transformer.
That's
It's like
the
a
shop.
factory.
What do you need me to do?
Right, this is my garage, so you can build a
Oh, wow.
detached house next to the garage.
Your garage is quite massive.
Big garage.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
are you doing for time?
Did you guys finish your meeting and go on to the next round?
Yep.
Yeah.
We've got 3 minutes left.
What else do we need help on?
Mike, as a building specialist, I'm going to wait for a minute. That's massive.
That's fine. It's detached house.
No, that's the garage for the house.
Yeah, it's premium.
Okay. For like
Since
10 cars.
I'd like to see more joinage togetherage of the park.
Well, join us together.
Yeah, yeah, there needs to be, sorry. You need to do the grand.
Alright.
Oh, Doris.
If we could have just like, all of it together.
I'm going to build this offside.
Are you happy with white?
Yeah.
There's a bit of concern with not so much colour around. No, white's fine. Sure, even though it's not technically
It's got its own.
It's got a fucking door.
That is class. I rate this police station as a 10 out of 10. This is going to push it.
What else can we build? Is there any time to finish that?
I don't think we
we don't have any
points
points.
left.
Oh, max 5 points.
What would it prep then?
Some more green.
Let's go greenish. Thank
A
you.
minute and a half.
Oh, fucking advice.
You need to connect the house to the garage now. You're going to have to find a way to join up this and this. The garage, that's the front of the garage.
Doesn't matter.
Got 1 minute and 10 seconds.
Oh, the pressure. Multi-level park.
Mate, what's going on here? It doesn't fucking sit right.
Does that pass safety?
Oh yeah, because I've done fucking don't swear at me, mate. I don't want to raise tension against you. You've got 45 seconds left.
You need another light.
Yeah, this one's
There's spaces, there's individual spaces.
Right, Mike, can you approve or
seconds. I'm still going to want more
How much time do you have left?
joinage.
more joinage? Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's
not,
all joined.
it's not freestanding structure. I would.
It's park, they're not freestanding. Trees don't always touch the other trees. That's like an avenue going on there.
That's just one big jungle.
Yeah,
You
they're
can't
not.
explore that as a park.
Oh, the pressure.
Alright, don't worry.
Thank you.
I've got 6 seconds to approach.
That's fine!
There's definitely 10, I would think. Right, done.
Woo!
Oh no, it's
Oh,
we're up.
someone start something.
Right, you done?
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent.
Is that red on now?
I would flag something. I mean, it's not
We've got to raise it in the. Oh no, we can't have a tactical meeting, can we? It's
But we can talk about it now, can't we?
Can we have?
Well, we're about to go into governance meeting. I mean, like, so let's have a governance meeting.
This is just a training.
You
exercise to see how to do the meeting. It's not.
Yeah, so let's do the governance meeting, and if we want, we can even do a tactical meeting again afterwards, and then another sprint. So I'm gonna set up the camera from here, and we're gonna do like I've got some cards there, and you have some cards over there as well.
You know.
And again, I'll facilitate the first couple of tensions, and then maybe Sam can take over and facilitate the next set of tensions.
Yeah, go on.
Camera rolling the whole time.
Sorry.
Is the camera rolling the whole time?
It's going to run out of SD card actually, so it's going to be alright for a while. Okay, so we're now going to do a governance meeting, which is about basically setting expectations on changing the role structure, not assigning people to roles, because that's something that the meeting can do at any moment. That's a decision that they can make, as in inviting or removing people from roles. But about the actual structure of the roles, like what are the roles responsible for, are there roles missing, are there roles that shouldn't be there, and so on. So, governance meeting. We start with the check-in, like last time, one at a time. Who wants to start? Who wants to check in first? Do we know if Greg's going to be back anytime soon?
He said 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Should we give him another few minutes? No? Okay, so we'll do governance. We'll start with the check-in. I feel very sad because Greg's not here. I mean, we'll take it seriously.
I'm happy about the progress that we've made.
I'm also happy with the progress that we've made.
I'm ecstatic by how our town has turned out.
We are winning. Amen.
Great. Admin concerns, in this case, well, there is actually an admin concern. We need the sheets to do the. Can you use the other side of it? Yeah. That would be our last row for today. Do you need a better pen?
Yeah, maybe a thin on.
Yeah. So, admin concerns. I don't think you've got the pen.
You know what? I don't think there's actually a competition. I don't think anyone wins.
Thank you very much.
Any other admin concerns? We've all got cards. Everything's good? Okay. So we're going to go straight into the build agenda. And much like last time, just a couple of words without going into it. Just
What's the difference between the agenda for this and the agenda for a tactical meeting?
So here, as I mentioned earlier, we're working on the structure of the roles. So that tensions with the governance, with like if you want to add expectations, ongoing expectations, policies, etc., strategies, then you can do it here rather than in a tactical meeting. So any tension.
It would be how could you do it with someone? How someone's executing their role? Is it like a?
Not well. It could be like don't think about it. If it's about how the person is executing the role, then no. If it's about how the role is performing, and it's independent of the person then yes.
So let's say, for example, that obviously it's self-managing, so you as an individual can decide how to carry out your role. If someone else in the business thinks that you could be doing something slightly differently or better within the context of that role, you wouldn't raise it here.
So,
just like a suggestion, let's say, oh, I think as part of this role, you should this thing should be done.
That sounds like a tactical concern of sharing advice, sharing some information with the person. But if you said, well, you know, the way you're doing your role is not actually like I can't meet my purpose because of the way you're doing your role. It sounds like you're trying to set an expectation or a constraint or like something on the other role, and that would be governance meeting type stuff.
Okay.
The stuff you guys mentioned, which you had a couple of tensions that sounded like governance tensions.
So your long term and not my vision, but specifically to governance.
So, I mean, should we put those in? Are they like just?
Yeah, I think it was kind of ironed out. It was just in the non-vaccine.
Let's play around with
Let's pretend it had.
Yeah, let's pretend it's still attention, and I think Sam, you had a tension as well. Just pretend it's still attention for now, because it seems like you guys are just good, like just way too effectively dealing with no rules and everything. So, like, you know, kind of need you guys to have more tensions.
Okay.
If there is spare colours, I can.
Whoa.
We can let the Boston box.
Look, you can have one brown.
Grey, that piece of it.
You can have one brown.
That's a great plan.
Do we have another round?
No.
No.
Go ahead.
I've got some more flags. I've got some more flags.
Whatever you want. We've completed Holacracy. 100%.
So, I mean, try and get in the role and think about how like you'd like other people to behave.
Okay.
And raise some tension around that because we need something to work with.
Okay.
Okay, just in terms of, okay, so my agenda would be on the back of pretending that we're following through from last time. I'd have building specialist and city planner as two different agendas.
Building specialist and city planner. Separate element city planner.
Stop destroying our supplies.
Anybody else got attention? Sounds like only Mike is playing the game right now.
Just around organisation.
This is about roles.
Get around organisation. Come on, Sam.
If I think there should be more accountabilities on the goal, would that class as a...
It should be on somebody else's role.
Yeah, on the role.
Yes, absolutely. That's very much governance. That's what governance does. Is create more accountabilities and create new roles. Is there a role that anybody feels is missing? Or a role that somebody thinks shouldn't be there?
It's more to do with keeping us on track for purpose.
So that sounds like a piece of role.
We don't really have those.
Well, it was
the
convenience, the greenery sort of aspect. I think we kind of lost on.
Yeah.
So that could be a governance tension. So purpose. Okay, so we have a few to play with here.
Do you want more? I'm not. I just saying we can listen if you want.
Let's go through these and we'll see how it goes. Any of them stand out as something that we have to go through first, or should we go in order?
Order's good.
Okay. So the first, sorry,
Indifferent.
So the first one was long term. That was Mike's, I think. Right.
Yes. So that was kind of come under the stand, right? But it was more.
Let me just clarify. What's happening. So the first step that we enter, so it's in section 4. It's present proposal, and there's only the proposer who speaks, who needs then to propose, or if you need a discussion to get proposal, you can. But then the attention keeps going back on you. And what you should be proposing is some kind of change that the secretary will write down, which is like, I want to add the responsibility here, or I want to create a role.
So my proposal is that the city planner sets out a kind of a multi-sprint overview of what is expected to be done rather than we just have unfinished projects at the end of the sprint that we don't have to have in the future.
So the proposal is to add an accountability to the city planner role?
He's calling me out for an accountability I didn't do, basically.
Oh, it's already on there.
Probably.
No.
Oh, I don't think it says setting out a vision there, right?
It says, assign construction projects to every builder with the right instructions so your vision as city planner creates a city where people live in every sprint. Prioritising all, yet not yet assigned construction rooms so every builder can start fresh projects in the next round.
So it doesn't say anything about setting out a vision, so maybe this is the attention, Mike, that you want to set out a vision.
I would set up a plan, not just. I would as an accountability, suggest that you are accountable for making clear the long-term plan of the city.
So making clear the long-term plan of the city. If we can write that clearly, like accountability on, because it's not, I don't know what's in
Long-term plan.
like, let's grab some post-its, like some kind of other sheet of paper we can write this big so people can actually see it.
Okay.
I'll just use the fact that this.
Can we add to this? Like,
Can we just, right, so it's my space at the moment, unless you want to time out and ask a process question.
I don't think it's part process. It's just if somebody raises a tension and you have the same tension but one person owns it, like you can surely add to that point, right?
No, you cannot.
If you've got a tension within that same headline.
It's one tension at a time. So if your tension is not solved by the proposal that Mike makes, you can raise yours separately and either amend what he did, or even during Mike's tension resolution process, you could have an objection that somehow this proposal is is actually making if it's making your life worse, then you can actually object and contribute to the proposal in this way. But the purpose of this process is to have one tension at a time, so it becomes quite efficient instead of having this accretion of multiple tensions.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will find it.
So, going back to this, let's go around and collect any objections. Let me start with... Yeah?
So, we have a proposal, we reacted. We haven't taken a decision yet, right?
No.
So the idea about objection rounds is not to ask, are you okay with this? Or is this perfect? Do we want to do this? The question the facilitator asks is it safe enough to try? Or is it...
do you see any reason why adopting this proposal causes harm and moves us backwards?
Yeah. That's it. It's a yes or no question. Is adding this single sentence to the city planner role harmful or a step back? Or can we just try it?
Yeah, my thinking on it though, like that's just an empty state. Like there's some things that people will say.
Yes.
So that's a basic.
It's harmful or a step back to say yes. So
It's a yes, but unless you understand the
So you need
more
to ask more
detail of
questions
it,
before.
it's just
So
like
that's a great objection that you can make, and then we can test it and see whether it's a valid objection. If it is, then we can give us
but that as just a statement, it's like more yes. Nobody in here is going to go no.
I don't know.
You can say no, that's what you wanted.
So the idea is that we make it easy for someone to do a proposal, but we make it hard for you to stop it or to slow it down. And so that's why the question is it, I don't ask it's perfect, I only ask is it harmful or a step back? If it's the one. If you say yes, great. If something is that we decide this and it's harmful or a step back, oh yeah, then we should slow it down. So that's why that question is there. We don't say it's perfect, probably there are a dozen of other reasons, but hey, if this helps him, if nobody says it's harmful or step back, let's go and try it. And if next week you find out something else, you find better words, we change it again next week. That's why that objection question is there. Is it harmful or step back to add this accountability to the city planner? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
No, it's not harmful.
Oh.
No.
it's not harmful.
Cool.
Okay. So you don't have any objections?
Not that state.
As facilitator, I'm not going to have any objections. It doesn't really get confusing. I'm trying to facilitate any objections. Tim, do you have any objections to?
I have no objections to how it is there. No.
Okay. Sam, as city planner, do you have any objections? Okay. So
there are actually no objections.
He himself can
Oh,
object.
can you object?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can object your own proposal.
Okay.
You don't object? Okay, well, so then the proposal is accepted.
Yeah.
So could you please write down on your cards that you have this, the new accountability or making visible the multi-sprint vision?
Does it have to be those words, or?
Yeah, that's exactly those words. That's the proposal we're looking at.
So now he has an accountability. It doesn't say he has to do it. It only says we can expect it from him.
So what can you do?
You can pitch your idea, how are his priorities? Maybe he has a lot of other stuff to do.
From your letter.
So yeah, exactly. Pitch your idea, like, hey, I really want it because I get confused and my next sprint doesn't work out.
So you get to, but surely that's pointless if he accepts it but then doesn't prioritise it as something to do. You're just accelerating going to attention.
But then you have a way to resolve that tension, which is you can ask him, okay, so what is the priorities? Yeah. He tells you what the priorities are, and you find out it's right at the bottom of the list. You can ask him to reprioritize. He might say no. You can ask the lead link to reprioritize the actions of the whole circle. Maybe the lead link tells you no, and then you can go to the lead link of the anchor circle and ask to reprioritize the circle. I think, right?
Yeah, or you make a policy about it.
Or you propose policy.
95% of the stuff solves when we say, hey, you're accountable. Figure out yourself what's most important in your role. But go for it.
But yeah, so if you have a problem with somebody who's not prioritising that, you are going to the lead link.
No, you first go directly yourself.
Yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. But if they're not prioritising it and you see it as a really important piece of work to do, if they're not doing it, you basically then go straight to lead link.
Yeah.
Right.
And that straight to lead link only happens in 1% of the cases. I hardly see it necessary for the lead link to step in and say, from the circle perspective, this is more important than that. 99% of those cases are solved because, hey, you have a good story for him why you need it sooner. And I said, hey, yeah, I actually get why that is important for your goals. I put it higher. Hey. Or you say, okay, I get what else you have to do. I might pitch it again next week, but so 99% of the stuff, and maybe I don't know what it will be with you guys, but the majority of the stuff you can solve with just sharing information, with a good pitch. And then it's really good to know that the lead can step in, that whatever the lead finds from a circle perspective more important, that is running, so you can solve it that way as well. So if you get into a fight, then ask the lead. I hardly see it happening. When you know from which role it's coming, what the purpose of those roles are, with a lot of transparency of what you're doing anyway, a lot of those stuff just solves itself. Cool. And when you really need that vision every week to be effective, you can add it to the statement, but then still the role has a bit of freedom. Then you could make it into a policy that says we can only start a sprint when the multi-vision sprint is updated, or no other work from the city planner can start till the multi-sprint vision is clear. And then you put in some more lines on the right. This gets quite bureaucratic, right?
I was going to say, who is actively involved in that? Because like that statement was so vague, unless you're helping actually create those lines as well, the person that you're speaking to may not get what you're trying to interpret.
Yeah.
It's so vague.
Cool, right? But
So do you do
for
that?
him it was sufficient. He's fine with adding it. Solved. If now next week we find out that you're looking at it as a no idea, you have a lot of attention and we might clarify it further.
So you wait for somebody to just vaguely interpret what was said rather than giving more detailed feedback at the beginning.
It's better to take one small step slightly in the right direction that's not quite perfect, and then take another small step later, rather than try to take a perfect step right away.
This was the best he could come up with for now.
I'm trying my best to bring me down every step of the way.
All you guys, you had the time to respond on it, and everybody said, hey, this is fine, you gave your reaction. We all had our chance to give better ideas. We left it at that, great, let's agree on that, if that's sufficient, let's move forward.
So you that's clarifying question.
Yeah.
And that's where you actually give input on how that could be made better or something like that.
If
you want to give input, it's reaction. If you want to draw information out of him, it's question. If you would ask like, okay, you now say making visible. What does making visible mean to you? What do you expect then? Can you explain?
Yeah, so it's just that in the first sprint everything was in Sam's head of what the long-term vision would look like. I wanted to make that, I wanted to know, as a builder, I would have been more motivated to get my build done if I'd have known where it fit into the long-term context of the city.
Okay, then I'm going to ask you a question and get some information. Cool. If that information, and then next comes the reaction, I'm like, making visible the vision of the next sprint, so we know where the city is heading. Okay, and tell this specifically to the builders. Could also add as reaction writing, it's more concrete, or and whatever it is that you want to react to. But the thing is that we want to put in a proposal that's minimum sufficient to solve this tension. And if we would have waited with this for another week, we probably would have come up with a better answer. If we would have spent 15 minutes brainstorming about this, we might have come up with a better answer. But 15 minutes times 6 equals 1.5 hours of work time. We're probably solving this with your best put that it what solves it for you is 5 minutes. And let's keep moving forward.
Talking about moving forward, lunch will be served soon. I'm looking for us to actually get the governance, like go through at least one objection before we actually go to lunch.
So love that. Majority of the groups will do governance after lunch. So you have some time to do after lunch some of the governance. So,
okay, well, do you guys want to have lunch first?
Yes.
And then do governance? Okay, so let's do that.
I mean, we can do one more or two more and then have lunch maybe.
I'm happy to do one more. I had the,
If we do one more, I think governance done enough.
I'll let you figure it out yourself. My timing is that by 2:30 you have finished the governance meeting. The majority of the groups will have lunch till 1:45.
So half an hour for lunch, because there's food already there. So half an hour.
I need to make my calls as well.
You only have half an hour, so it's time in diary. So
The sandwich and eating.
The afternoon session is not compulsory. So.
Depends.
but we want to do the governance before, like the governance.
That's what I'm saying. If you do it now, then we don't have.
So yeah, if we do it now, and we go through.
Okay, yeah, right, let's smash through it and then.
Okay, and then
Entire governance thing. Well,
let's start until we've got like a few tensions and we've seen how it works. Because right now the first one just went through right away.
Let's do one that we can.
So whose tension was not my vision?
That was mine originally, but now it was put on there later when we have resulted in the tax committee.
So are you saying that this you no longer have a proposal there? It's no longer something you need to.
This is my vision.
So this is no longer a tension.
No, it's not.
Okay. So then we had somebody who wrote down building specialists.
I felt that the building specialist didn't need a role by itself. It could be more an accountability within probably the city plan. I felt like there was more what's the word? The inefficiency by the building specialist trying to interpret the city plan's vision and convert that into what a city would look like rather than the city planner.
So what is your proposal?
My proposal is to incorporate the building specialist accountabilities within city planning role.
So move all the accountabilities from building specialists to city planning.
Yeah, and just absorb them into one role. City specialist.
Okay, guys. From what? From city planners to building specialists?
No, building specialist city planner.
We can call it city specialist.
Yeah.
And also to rename it to city specialist.
No, don't add more to this. Come on.
It's already that. But
No, it's
city specialist.
Yeah.
Plus rename. Normally we would like put this in glass rock so you can see exactly what the proposal is.
Yeah.
And then when you accept it, it becomes part of the government strategy.
I'm
just writing this down here. So, right, so that's the proposal. And next we're going to clarifying questions. Does anybody have any clarifying questions there? Spot on style.
I always have a clarifying question. Is that doable by one person? Both roles?
Yeah, that's why I said I think it would create more efficiencies rather than the city plan having to communicate their vision to the building specialist and the building specialist. try to implement that in the best way possible.
But does that not need to?
Is there a follow-up question?
Well, I was actually directing it to the city planning because they don't understand their
This
own
is
work.
questions for the proposer, not for the city planner.
But they may not be the best person to answer the question.
You can only ask questions from the proposer. Sorry? What is it?
Since my role moved into the role of the city planner,
You can't talk.
Yes, sorry. We can't, like, sorry, what is your clarifying question?
Do I still have a job?
If you have guys, please, not everybody at once. Greg can't hear anything, we can't hear him, this is a shitty meeting with, like, you know. Greg, what is your clarifying question to Mike who proposed this?
well, my question was if I have a. Hello?
Yes, you're asking, waiting for the question.
Yeah, you can't hear me or what?
Yes, we can hear you, we're waiting for your question.
Oh, no, my question is, do I have me say in Mike's proposal to make my role obsolete?
Is that your question to Mike?
Yeah.
It's a question.
Is that a question for the
It's a question, is it? Or is that a timeout that you're asking me as a facilitator?
Well, so we're doing a governance meeting now, right?
We're doing a governance meeting, and right now you're asking clarifying questions about the proposal to Mike. Now, if you want to time out and ask about the process, we can do that as well, but within the process, you're just asking clarifying questions to Mike.
But I'm more wondering about, I guess about the process. So this is more about,
So this is a timeout. What is your question to me as a facilitator?
for example, Mike makes a proposal that affects my role, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we kind of resolve that? Because maybe I have a different view.
So there will be clarifying questions, reaction round, amend and clarify, and then an objection round, all of which are designed to elicit what you're talking about. Right now, this is the clarifying question round, so it's just about asking clarifying questions about the proposal. So if you have reactions, save them for the reaction round, and if you have objections, save them for the objection round. Does that make sense? Cool. Time back in.
Makes sense. I actually think that it makes sense.
Okay, so does anybody have any clarifying, sorry, do you have clarifying questions for Mike?
No, that's it. I have an objection for later.
Anybody else have clarifying questions for Mike?
I don't know if he answered, but basically the same as what you said, Jason. Do you think that would that not be too much accountability is the word?
Yeah.
Too many accountabilities for one role if you had all of those on?
No, because as I said before, it would increase efficiency rather than decrease.
Anyone else? No? Okay, we move from the clarifying questions round to the reaction round. So I'll go through people one at a time, and people can react. It's your protected space. Everyone speaks just one at a time. Let's start with Jason.
Mental. He's off the charts.
Are you done? Yeah. Cool. My reaction is, seems like a very bold proposal. I'm interested to hear objections.
I think it makes sense. I just think it's a lot of work for one person.
Greg, do you have a reaction?
Yeah, I think the role of the building specialist can be quite important because the plan, he has all those crazy ideas about what he wants to do with the same thing. You just want to build, right? We need someone in between that to actually ensure that, to exactly do that, to translate the ideas of the planner into something that the builder can actually build. To make sure the project is manageable.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So we move out of the reaction round into the amend and clarify round. The proposer speaks. Proposer, would you like to amend your proposal? You don't have to. Or would you like to clarify anything by your proposal?
Having listened to Greg's reaction, I would like to withdraw my proposal.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I mean, we could. Well, we didn't.
I just absolutely got it.
Well, you want the objection
hoping for some objections, but okay, fine.
Yeah. It makes sense. I think as a gate between.
Quick timeline, what was the tension you were solving?
My tension was that the building, it seemed like there wasn't much communication between city planner and building planner beforehand, and it led to down the chain, us being builders and not really having a clear sense of direction.
Okay. How is that now solved?
It isn't solved in the terms of the context of their relationship necessarily, just by that statement, but it seems like I'm assuming that like in the future they will collaborate that.
Okay, that's interesting, right? I'll let the coach, the epic coach, handle this one.
Why would you withdraw your proposal if that's still on the table? Because I hardly believe that clarity in communicating is solved by a bunch of reactions.
That's true. You're not wrong. I like to I'm very easy influencing.
So the trick here is to be tough on your tension. Don't walk away without your tension being solved. But be soft on the solution. There are probably a dozen potential solutions to get your needs met here. And you don't need to be a rocket man to come up with the solution yourself here or whatever. So you can just leave it like this and say, well, you probably get some objections and that's great, then we can solve it afterwards. This is the best I have. Well, you can adjust it. Yeah, what would be the simplest solution to your tension? Or at least a step forward on that tension?
It would, I don't know, it'd be more vague though, it'd just be to ensure clearer communication between.
You don't have to amend it. Like Brian Roberts has this great phrase that a bad proposal is a great start. And the objection process and the integrative decision-making process are really good at turning a bad proposal into a better proposal that solves like tensions for both the proposer and the objector.
Okay, since I can't come up with a better proposal on the spot right now, I'm going to keep the proposal the same.
Okay, great. See those initial rounds as a sort of foreplay. It only helps you smooth into the game. You have had reactions, you have clarifying questions, you could amend, you could leave it. Okay, now it gets grippy.
So, we move into the objection round, and we'll collect objections one at a time, so we'll go through one person at a time. What?
I just need mine for 2 seconds.
Okay, 2 seconds.
So, yeah.
Only 2 seconds.
Do you have a phone number for Graham?
Yes. You can test objections without. That's,
well, it's quite helpful to have the proposer in the room and testing objections. It's not necessarily as good as objection.
He doesn't have to talk in anyway. We'll get to information.
Okay. Right, so going around the room, I'll start with Greg. Should I start with Greg? Yeah, okay, I'll start with Greg. Greg, do you see any reason why adopting this proposal causes harm or moves us backwards? This being the proposal, in case you forgot.
Can you read it out? Because the video is not good enough. I can read it.
The proposal is to move all accountabilities from the building specialist to the city planner, and then rename the city planner to city specialist.
Yes, I object.
So you see a reason why this causes harm? Yeah, so is that so what is the harm that it causes?
It removes an important middle layer between the builders and the planners.
And what is the harm? Like, how does that cause harm?
We need some.
Sorry, your sound is.
Need someone to translate the planning into something more specific for the builders.
What happens if you don't have that? Like, what's the harm that happens?
You get like crazy cities that are never finished.
Okay, so that's the harm. Crazy cities are never finished. Is that a reason that the proposal causes harm, or is your concern that the proposal is unneeded, incomplete, or fails to address the issue?
No.
is it the reason that the proposal causes harm? As in, is the proposal...
Yes, the proposal, sorry?
Is the proposal directly causing the harm, or is your concern that the proposal is unneeded, incomplete, or fails to address the issue?
I think the proposal needs to be rephrased to address the underlying issue as opposed to merge the two roles.
I'm certainly going to jump in.
What the facilitator does is, if you look at the yellow card, of the yellow side of the card, is he asks you two statements and choose between one of those two statements. So which one is true? Right? And I think on the top one, if I hear you talking, it's like it's the left side. Right? It's the harm is created by this proposal. It's not that you have another or a better idea. And with this test question, we want to rule out that you're going for a better solution. If this is, it's about harm. It's not about better solutions. If you have a better solution, you cannot stop this one. You can only slow down this decision if you say this proposal is actually causing harm. If you say I have a better idea, say sorry, not within this proposal. You might put it on the agenda yourself, and then you get the attention to the proposal, but we won't slow down this decision. There are 4 tests here on the agenda. You want to take another one? Let's see if yes. Answer. Give you the choice, so you have to choose.
Yeah. So I think your answer was that the proposal does cause harm. So looking at the second question, which I'll send you the link, I've sent you a photo on Slack, by the way.
No, I have those.
Okay. Alright, okay, cool. So is your concern created by this proposal, or is it already a concern that would be there even if the proposal was dropped?
If I answer yes to the it causes harm, then I don't have to answer the second one also?
All 4 of them have to pass.
Okay. Is my concern created by this proposal, or is it already a concern? Yes, it's created by this proposal.
Okay, great. Is this objection based on, do you know that this will happen based on objective data, or are you anticipating or projecting that this will happen?
Can we quickly do a time out?
Sorry?
Can we quickly do a time out?
Okay,
let's go through this and then in terms of...
So let's continue then. Do you know this will occur, or are you anticipating or projecting that this is going to happen?
It's based on my experience on other projects working as a builder specialist.
Okay, that sounds like objective data. Yeah, you can
if you're just holding up a mirror, if he finds the data, you're fine.
Yeah.
As facilitator, you're not judging them. If he says because of my mother, yeah, okay, then I would call him out. Yeah, then I would say, okay, give me some data. But if he says in projects before we tried this, it didn't work, that sounds like data.
And finally, would the proposal limit one of your roles, or are you trying to help another role or the circle in general?
It would limit one of my role.
Which one? Which role?
Mine.
Building specialist. Building specialist. Yeah. Okay, great. So this is a valid objection. So rather than go through all the other objections, we'll move into integrative decision making to integrate this.
Normally you capture all the objections.
Yeah, but for lunch's sake, let's just go into integrative decision making there. So the way the integrative decision making works is Greg needs to actually be here. Okay, keep going back. That now the focus is on you to ask whether you can see a way to run the proposal. Can you hear us, Jeff? Greg?
Yeah.
Okay. So the focus is on you to see how you would like to amend this proposal so that it still meets my extension, but it also meets your objection and doesn't cause the harm that you see causing. So how would you amend this proposal, Mark?
And I can find a way to resolve the tension without removing my role.
So what would you propose concretely? So you've heard about my extension. What do you propose could be done as a kind of alternative proposal?
I propose Kickoff with, we get more details from about what he saw as a problem tagging.
Okay, so you asked me. Sorry, what was that?
And then we try to find a solution.
So you asked me.